This is Roosevelt Guest with Auto Network, and we're here in San Francisco with BMW for the launch of the new 3 Series. And my guest on the show is Ken Bracht, the 3 Series product manager. Ken, thanks for taking the time.
No problem.
Now, in a press conference that we had yesterday, if I heard you correctly, you said that the 3 Series it's the benchmark for its, I guess, segment, but you lost a little market share. Why was that?
Well, we consider our main competitors the Mercedes CLK and the Infiniti G35. And when we first launched the predecessor of this current coupe, we did see that the Infiniti was pretty strong from a competitive standpoint and also offered more performance. And so we wanted to raise the bar once again, and we think that we've done that. This 335 here has 300 horsepower and 300 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60 in 5.3, so I think we will reclaim the benchmark within the segment.
Now, how did you make the choices as to what you wanted to improve on the product? Did you do like consumer focus groups, or you guys just got together and say, hey, this is what we need to do?
I mean, certainly we look at data that we have or had on the predecessor, but certainly there's a lot of gut feel and like essentially what would we want to produce for ourselves. And of course, more power and a car that handles better is something I think that this market that we're going after especially appreciates.
Now, in this new 3 Series Coupe, where do you stand from safety standpoint? How are you doing in the crash tests, and where are you going to place?
Well, BMWs have always been known for being performance machines, but they're also quite safe. And the 3 Series sedan, which this coupe is based upon, actually was already crash tested by the IIHS earlier this year and performed very well. I believe it was a best pick in the front, side, and acceptable in the rear for an overall award of a silver award. So we're very happy with the crash test results of the sedan.
Now, you've added a lot more equipment in terms of options. Does that increase the delivery time for the consumer to deliver their product?
No, the availability of additional options really has no effect on the production. We plan for that from the beginning and have the capability to deliver the product either from the factory, custom ordered in say 6 to 8 weeks, or a customer can go in and buy something off the floor.
Now, I was surprised to hear that some of your fenders, I guess, are plastic and the rest of the car is pretty much metal. From a repair standpoint, is that going to give your body shops any problems?
Well, first of all, the reason we went with that composite plastic front end is because the ultimate driving machine isn't just a tagline. We really believe that to achieve a car, or to have a car that handles very well, you need to achieve as close as you can 50-50 weight distribution. And by making these front fenders plastic, that enabled us to do so. But there have been other examples where we've used composite materials, say on a 6 Series, or even aluminum front fenders on the 5 Series. It again helped us achieve that 50-50 weight distribution. From a repair standpoint, a BMW dealership is trained, and they of course have the technical know-how to repair it, so we don't anticipate any issues.
Now, I noticed you also made this a true 4-seater.
Yes.
You have a console in the rear. What brought that about?
Well, what we really found is that when we talked to a lot of customers, the typical coupe owner, they're usually driving by themselves. But for, say, young single people who, and by the way, the 2 main groups tend to be young people, either single or newly married, or people who have purchased a car or a coupe as a reward purchase once their kids go off to school. But the younger people who are buying this car, this is their primary car. And occasionally they would want extra seating for people and their friends, so 4 people essentially. And this is why the coupe has a lot of appeal over, say, the typical sports car that has just 2 seats. Long story. Essentially, the previous generation was 5 seats. We've now optimized it for 4. It actually makes it more comfortable.
Now, does that give the competition to say that they can seat 5 versus 4 in the 3 Series?
If they think that makes sense to their customer, then more power to them. But we believe that we're really appealing to the people who will buy a 3 Series coupe.
From a marketing standpoint, what are you going to have to do to really get the message out about the new 3 Series?
Well, I think that BMW is somewhat blessed in that there's a lot of interest in our brand anyway. BMW is one of the most recognized symbols or icons in the world, and I think that the 3 Series is definitely one of the cars that people think of when they think of BMW. I think people like yourself, journalists, the automotive publications really help market our cars for us, because although people think of BMW as a big corporation, in the grand scheme of things, we're actually fairly small.
Now, I'm curious to know, a 3 Series owner in the past, do you see them having 2, 3 different size BMWs in their garages now?
Well, we used to be a 357 company, And what we found, especially when we were first bringing the X5 to market, is many of our customers had SUVs or SAVs from other manufacturers, and so we wanted to get more of a share of that garage. And we have found that once people get behind the wheel of a BMW, that they do become pretty loyal. They like the way it feels, they like the way it drives.
What do you see in terms of the market share, the demographics, male versus female, in driving the new 3 Series?
Well, the 3 Series Coupe specifically, we tend to see it skew a little bit more male in the 335i, which is the 300 horsepower engine. But the 328i, which by the way is no slouch in performance either with 230 horsepower, also appeals to a broader audience.
Now, I know from experience in driving run-flat tires, and a lot of consumers may not know what a run-flat tire is, but you sacrifice a little ride comfort when you go to run flat. Why did you decide to do that?
Well, run flats are really now in their second generation, and I would have to say that I would agree with you in some cases that run flats weren't always the ideal solution. But with this new 3 Series, this car was designed from the beginning to work with run flat tire technology. So the first thing that one of the first things that we did when developing the new 3 Series was we made it much more rigid. And in fact, its torsional rigidity has increased 25%, so it doesn't twist at all. This has given us the ability to essentially make the suspension a little bit more comfortable because you're not trying to make the car handle better by having the suspension really tight. Long story, but essentially with the second generation of run flats and because we have a very stiff body, we're able to provide a comfortable ride and a car that handles great.
Now, over what period of time will you know from a marketing standpoint whether or not the new 3 Series Coupe is going to regain the market share that you're looking to do with it?
I'd say we'll know pretty quickly. I would say by the end of the year.
And when do they go on the market?
They'll go on sale September 1st. You probably will see them the last week of August in your local showroom.
And what excites Ken about the new Coupe?
Personally, I love the way this thing steers. It feels like essentially an extension of your body when you're driving it. Personally, I also really prefer the manual transmission, just the way it shifts, and then of course the power.
Great, Ken, thanks for taking the time.
Oh, you're welcome, Roosevelt.
This is Roosevelt Gifts with Auto Network, and we're here in downtown San Francisco with BMW for the launch of the new 3 Series Coupe. And as always, please buckle up, don't drink and drive. See you next time. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.